I have been in Germany for about 9 years now, and I currently work in the financial services industry. I've noticed that it's not really about your German being perfect. Different options available to immigrants to come to Germany, like the opportunity card for one. I think a lot of people really don't believe that you don't need to pay tuition fees in Germany, but you genuinely don't pay tuition fees in most universities in Germany. No one is restricting you from giving yourself a chance. Germany is a good place to come to. Yeah, I would highly recommend it.
Welcome to the channel.
Thank you for having me. My name is Oluwaseyi and I'm Nigerian. I have been in Germany for about 9 years now. I came to Germany on a student visa and I completed my master's degree in economics, and I currently work in the financial services industry. Yeah.
And you're also somebody that inspires me. I think I must have told you this before. One time I was going through a hard day. I mean, like, I had to be at the university, I had to be at work, and then I was thinking to myself, is she did it? Then I can figure it out.
Okay.
So basically, my first question would be, did you always know you were going to move to Germany?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I had other countries on my radar. The first country on my radar was Canada, and then I was also looking at some other European countries. Germany was never an option in the beginning, so I applied to 3 universities in Canada. When I got rejections from 2 out of those 3, I had a conversation with a family member about the disappointment, of course, from being rejected from the 2 universities that I really was looking forward to studying at. And he said, oh, that have I thought about Germany? And I said, Germany? Who goes to Germany? And I said, yeah, that in Germany I don't have to pay for tuition. I might have to learn the language, but they also have English taught programs. So there and then we opened the laptop, started checking for programs using the DAAD website, and I was able to find some courses. I would never forget, there was an MSc in economics at the University of Tübingen. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that city well, but I was like, okay, if they have an MSc in economics taught in English at the University of Tübingen, I'm pretty sure they'll have other programs as well. And at that time, I wanted a degree that was a dual degree, so basically a combination of economics and management, or economics and finance, or whatever. I wasn't really fixated on anything in particular, but because my bachelor's was in economics, I wanted my master's to be kind of a mixture of both economics and something else. So that was what I was looking for. And yeah, a couple of days later, I went on a platform called Nairaland. A lot of Nigerians would know that it's still in existence. If you want information, real life information, learn from other people's experiences, go on Nairaland. As at that time, I think they call pages on Nairaland threads. So you can have a thread, maybe how to relocate to Germany on a student visa. Thread 1, maybe they're about 100 and something pages.
Oh, wow.
And I read through everything. I read through everything. Fine, one of my hobbies is reading, but just making sure that, okay, this makes sense. And I'm somebody who loves planning things out, and to kind of have a picture of what I want to do and how I'm going to go about it, so that there'll be no surprises on the way. Fine, it doesn't work all the time, but in this case I wanted to be very sure of what I was doing, because I don't know anyone as at that time. I know that now. As at that time, and a whole lot more people, as at that time I didn't know anyone in Germany, so it was more like I was going to be like, it was going to be an experiment, an experience, but also an experiment that, okay, let's see if this is going to work for me. There was also not a lot of professionals on LinkedIn that you could see, okay, they studied in Germany and they were now working professionally in Germany. I didn't see any. And as somebody who loves research and everything, I went all in looking for that information, but I didn't find it. So I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm not sure if this is a good idea, but the having to only pay semester fees was very juicy. And I just thought to myself, yeah, why not? Let's try this. Who knows? You never know what's going to come out of it. I applied to 3 universities. There was University of Paderborn, yeah, and then there was University of, honestly, I don't know how to pronounce this place. I think Shamakalden or I don't know.
Yeah.
And what's the last one? I've forgotten the name of the last one. But anyway, University of Paderborn was the first university to get back to me. And that was the university I just went with because it was a dual degree master's. They had this affiliation with other universities. It would allow you to travel to said partner universities and take some courses there. So it was it seemed very interesting. So I just said, okay, you know what, I'll just go with this. And that's what I used to apply for my student visa. And yeah, here we are.
Thank you so much. That was a very long one, and I'm glad you answered the question in that way. You talked about like the place of research, first of all, doing more than one application, because some people do only one application and then they just go to sleep. And you also mentioned LinkedIn. So for me, in my case, one of the reasons why I came to Germany as an international student was because I found somebody on LinkedIn who studied in the department I studied in. I also like the fact that you mentioned DAAD. I mean, that is the database you should be combing through if you're interested in studying in Germany. So my next question would be like, how was student life? So you've gone through, you've made the decision to move to Germany, you've gone through the entire research process, and you've finally applied, and you've also gotten your response. What was it like? What was the first few years like? How did you figure it out?
I figured it out as it I took one day at a time, honestly.
Yeah.
Fine. I had a plan in mind. Like my program, I think most master's degrees in Germany are for 2 years. So I had a plan that, okay, my degree is for 2 years. I'm going to try to finish it in 2 years. And then during those 2 years, I was going to look for an internship. So I had a structure. Okay, we are probably going to talk about how everything did not work as I planned, but ended up where it was supposed to end up in the end. Thank God. So in the beginning, of course, because there were not a lot of people to ask questions, I also went to a very small city. So the university I studied at, Paderborn, is not very big in comparison to, say, for example, Dusseldorf, Berlin, or Munich, which are places that a lot of people would know. Paderborn was not very popular. It's not big. A lot of people even leave Paderborn on Fridays. They travel out of Paderborn for the weekend and come back on Sunday evening to, you know, continue their studies. We had a nickname for Paderborn then, Paderborn, because there was basically not a lot of things happening there. But I survived. I like peace and quiet anyway, so it didn't make sense for me to be leaving. Plus, who did I know in Germany? So I was just in Paderborn. Luckily for me, during the orientation week, I was able to meet a couple of other African students. As a result of that event that I attended, I'm still very close friends with a couple of people I met at that event. They were also really focused, they were really ambitious, looking to make something out of the experience here in Germany. Well, some of us had more information than others. I in particular had a lot of information. So it was really nice to be able to share such information, or the information that I'd gathered before coming to Germany, with my friend, that okay, it's possible. Because from the conversations I had at the time with these people I met, it was more like, oh, that they don't give Africans those type of jobs, you know.
What types of jobs?
Corporate jobs.
Yeah.
So as at that time I was saying, okay, this is what we are going to do. We're going to apply for internships and get internships. Like, they won't give Africans internships. Like, just go and work in a factory. And I'm not going to say it was not discouraging, because I was like, okay, fine. Not to say that did not happen. Yeah, there were student jobs that you had to do, but I was so adamant that no, there has to be a way. So despite the things I was hearing, I still sent applications regardless. There was one application that really stood out because I was so sure that I was going to get it because I fulfilled all the requirements. I was like, there's no reason why I was not going to get this internship. When they responded, they said that the only reason why they're not going to give me this job is because I don't speak any German. And as a result, they cannot offer me the job. And that, it made something to click in my head. Like, okay, so I need German, right? That's why I was so committed to learning German as a student. Every semester I was attending evening, so we had like an evening class after your normal program classes, and it was in the evening. I was knackered. Like I was tired, exhausted. Imagine some days you work half day. So, and where we were working then was about 50 minutes away from Padapon. So you travel for the morning shift, you're done in the like midday, and then you travel back to the city, to the university. Then right from the train station, you're going directly to class. And then after class, maybe the class for like maybe 2 hours or so, then maybe you have a tutorial, sometimes you don't, but let us say you have a class for 2 hours. Then 2 hours, after 2 hours, almost around like 4 p.m. ish. The classes start around 6 o'clock, so from 6 to I think 8 o'clock or 8:30. You go home, have lunch or I don't know, dinner, almost dinner, and then go back to the university for your class from 6 to 8. And yeah, the next day maybe you have a class at 9 o'clock or at 8 o'clock, it depends. And that was some days at the university while I was a student. Luckily, I got an internship, a working student position that I did for a little bit over a year, right? And that was the beginning of like, okay, the shit that, okay, so this is actually possible. It also helped me in getting my first full-time job and helped me to also use that to encourage people that, okay, forget about the negativity, like ignore the negativity. People who say it's not possible have maybe not met somebody that it had worked for, and you cannot blame them because like I said, when I came, there was really nobody to ask questions from, and there was it again. I don't want to come off as a strong-headed person, or like I mentioned, the university had a program where they had partner universities, so you could apply for an Erasmus scholarship. I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. So I told my friend, let's do this, and he said, okay, let's do it. So we checked online, looked at the application requirements. Oh, we have this, we need to translate this. He had a friend who was willing to translate it for us. So he did the translation, we submitted, we prepped for the interview, we both got it. Oh, wow. He got it, he got the partner university in a different European country. I got it to a business school in Greece, and I already had the courses I was going to take at this university all planned out, everything, all in line to graduate in 2 years. So everything was all planned out when I was preparing my application. Now I'm not one to hide. If I need help, I don't say, okay, I'll do this on my own. I'm always one to say, okay, if I'm looking for a job, for example, I tell as many people as possible, whether or not you're in my industry or not, that, oh, I'm looking for a job. Or if I'm looking for an apartment, for example, I say, oh, I'm looking for an apartment. You never know who has the information that you need. So then I was talking to some African students that, oh, that myself and this my friend, we're going to apply for an Erasmus semester and everything, that it would be a great idea for you guys to also, you know, submit your application and all. Like, oh, they don't give African stuff like that, it's only for Europeans. I'm like, okay, that's quite interesting. But I'm happy it worked out, even though I did not go for this exchange semester. I'm happy that it worked out for my friend, and he went there, he enjoyed his time there at the partner university, and also because it's a scholarship, it's something you can talk about for as long as you want. You also get paid for, like, you get monthly stipends while you're exchange semester. So whether or not anybody tells you you can do it or not, I'm not a motivational speaker, but if you want to do something, just do it. Just do it. Yeah.
I like the fact that we keep coming back to that. Like, just do it. Like, do it. Actually, So you talked about learning German as a student and having to combine that. You talked about like having the courage to still apply despite its negativity. You also talked about planning. I feel like you've answered my question already. However, I'm
Talking too much.
No, I really appreciate it. However, I'm still going to ask the question just in case there's something you want to add. So like, are there things you wish you did better as an international student? From where you're standing right now, looking back on that journey, what are some of the things you think you could have done better, or you wish you didn't even bother doing at all?
Okay, first on my list, I don't know if it's a long list yet, but off the top of my head, I should have taken the intensive German classes before I started my program.
Oh yeah.
So what I did was, I mean, I also didn't know any better. What I did was I started my master's degree in this winter semester, and I started language classes that same semester. It was offered to us, it was part of the orientation offered by the international office. Okay, we have this available, it was affordable, it made sense, you can do it after classes, but I didn't think about how difficult it was going to be to combine both your classes and language classes with a part-time job. It was torture. And the way you study in Germany is different from how you study in Nigeria, for example. Let me talk about because I'm Nigerian, I studied in Nigeria. It's completely different. It is much more intense, and the professor is not going to explain what they expect you ought to have learned in your bachelor's degree. They'll tell you to go and read up on it, and that required you to do double the work. And on top of that, you still have to, meet up with assignments, you need to meet up with tests or preparation for the exam. It was a lot. So what I think I would have done differently, and what I would suggest to anyone who is currently coming into Germany to study, is to learn the language first. You can take a break, right, from your program to focus solely on learning German, so that you are what's the word?
Your integration journey can start already.
Exactly. And then it's going to be easier for you to land an internship, because I've noticed that it's not really about your German being perfect. It's about you being able to speak with confidence, right? And be able to express yourself even though you make mistakes here and there.
So I was going to ask, do you have a preferred city to study in Germany? If yes, why? If no, why?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's more about the content of your study program, not about the location of your university. And usually, even if you want to look for a job, you can always look for a job in a different city from where your university is located. For one, I was living in a different city that was, I think, 40 or 30 minutes away from my university city. The location of my internship was another 30 minutes out from where I was living. So I didn't restrict myself to any location. It's all geography. If you want, if you like big cities, yes, go for it. But as a student, I would actually focus more on the content of my degree program, because you can always travel for an internship. Plus the internships are not, for a working student position, for example, is not every day of the week, right? So you can travel for the days that you have to work in the office, and if it's an internship, you can move to the city where this internship is located for the duration of the internship program, maybe 4 months or 6 months. It's an investment to your future, so why not?
I wanted to ask, now that you're here and you've gone through like the educational system, you've learned the language, and now you're working in corporate, what's your favorite part of the journey so far?
For me, it's the experience.
Yeah.
Because I feel like life should be experienced, and even though it wasn't a smooth sailing journey, I'm still grateful for all the bumps on the way, because they brought me to where I currently am right now. Yeah, it wasn't, I mean, I laugh about some of the things I experience now, but when they happened, trust me, I wasn't the most giddy of people as at that time. But yeah, I'm grateful for the experience. I'm grateful for the people I've met along the way. Like I mentioned previously, one of the people that I met at the orientation when I first came to Germany is still my very, very close friend at the moment, and I'm always grateful for having met this person in October 2016.
Oh wow,
right?
A long time.
So yeah, it's a journey, really. It's a journey, both as a student, as now a full-time employee. It's the experience, really.
Yeah, I like the fact that you mentioned experience, because that's actually the central point of my next question. Like, from your lived experience, what is something you wish most people know about Germany? Because when people, like you mentioned when we started first, who goes to Germany, and I mean it has changed now, but it's still not, Germany doesn't have as big a PR like other like most Western countries, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, like what are the things, like some of the benefits, both whilst you were studying and now, that you wish more people knew about Germany?
I mean, you already mentioned it, like it so in comparison to almost 10 years ago, Germany has better PR now. A lot of people want to come to Germany now because now they have different options available to immigrants to come to Germany, like the opportunity card for one. Also, the Ausbildung is now very much open. The requirements are much more lenient to anyone who wants to come here for vocational training. So they have different visas available now in comparison to then. Now, I didn't do any research back then to check if some of these visas were available, for example, the Ausbildung, because it wasn't something that I was looking into. But I'd say now the requirements for Ausbildung has reduced. I mean, the barrier to entry to get to start an Ausbildung is way more lenient now, because they know, okay, a lot of people do not speak German as their first language, so it makes sense to at least let them start. They go on to complete the program, the German is going to improve. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people are coming to Germany now. People come to Germany on a work visa. A lot of people in tech come to Germany on a work visa. I know a few of them. It's not only the tech space, there's also the opportunity to come on a work visa in other industries as well, finance, for example. I think a lot of people really don't believe that you don't need to pay tuition fees in Germany, and maybe they think those of us that came here were lying, I don't know. But you genuinely don't pay tuition fees in most universities in Germany. Some regions require you to pay tuition fees if you're an international student. You need to do your research on that. But if you're checking for your programs on DAAD, you're going to get the information right there that, okay, you need to pay this amount every semester, and then you can use that to gauge if this is something that you want to do. There are also opportunities for foreigners as well, immigrants, except you limit yourself, okay? And you are the one that's going to limit yourself. Nobody is restricting you from sending applications. No one is restricting you from giving yourself a chance. Let them tell you that, okay, we are not offering you this opportunity. Let them tell you that, okay, you are not a good fit. At least try. When you try and then you don't get it, then at least you have, an idea of some other way to go about it. You've learned from that experience, and then okay, this is not working, let me try something else. So if Germany is still an option for you, or you're looking at leaving your current location to come to Europe, Germany is a good place to come to. Yeah, I would highly recommend.
On that note, we highly recommend you subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's been such an amazing conversation so far. Thank you for your patience, your very generous spirit in this interview, and thank you for always You guys, please comment. Thank you, Sheyi, in the comment section if you enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with someone who would need it. Ciao, ciao.